Okay. Alright. So how's it, everyone? My name's DrWeez. Thanks for tuning into my channel. So quick little stream again today, wanting just to introduce what I tried to introduce the other day, which is the AMD rigs that I got going. It's on the bench and it's up and running already. You can see it in the background here. So what has happened is I've got my hands on quite a few little AMD chips. My knowledge for AMD really hasn't been great, and I've sort of avoided them for a few years because, you know, it just wasn't worthwhile for any sort of benching scores, and I get easily frustrated by bad development, with incompatibility and stuff like that. So I've avoided it, but I can't avoid it anymore. It needs to be part of my knowledge base. So I've got my hands on, let me show you as well a good couple of AMD CPUs. And so I got a tray and a half of AMD CPUs. I went and bought myself the Strix motherboard because while it wasn't the high end of the boards, it was affordable, and it offers some of the tools. So we can quickly have a look at what's going on the workbench here already. So I built the machine. It's running on a DrWeez benching table. That's purely for ease of use, so that when I need to switch between projects, and that's going to happen a lot over the next couple of weeks, is each stream might be a different project. I can just basically take this and dump it on the shelf for storage. Right, so I got the Strix X370F gaming running, and it's got the full LED effect thing going. So you got these pretty cool little LED lights here on the heatsink, and I got an LED RGB fan hooked up. I've got a Sapphire RX. I think this is a 580 or 570 8 gig, and then I'm running the Corsair H80 water cooling over here. So part of that is now I can then quickly change the chips, and I can run a few benchmarks on it, and it's really just so that I've got a database of the performance of each chip, so that then when a customer comes to me and says, right, well, I'm looking for a 6-core processor, I want to play this game or want to run this application, I've got that database, which I built my own information. And look, you can Google the information as well, but I'm the type of person that I like to be hands-on with everything, so I like to make sure that I've tested everything and that I can give an accurate and honest response when asked a question. A lot of things in IT, you can BS your way through it all, but it'll always eventually come back and bite you. So what I've got running on this machine, and maybe if you want to drop some comments as well as to what you'd like me to see running on it, it's all going to be run air cooling. There's going to be no LN2 on the AMD stuff, not just yet, not until I've got a good foundation. I don't even know if I'm going to go as far as really overclocking the stuff much. I'll set sort of like the XMP Type E profiles and go with it from there. So I've got a basic Windows 10 configuration, and on the Windows 10 I'll do things like PC Mark 10, and I'm going to run 3D Mark Time Spy and R11, R12, and then I'm going to do a couple of benchmarks on some of the mining algorithms as well, because a lot of guys also ask me, right, well, what does this processor give me on Monero, or what does this processor give me on the Oregon so I've got a few different algorithms that I found. I've set up a little private pool, so I'll be mining to a little private pool, and then I'll be able to get a quite nice little accurate estimation of what you can expect from the hash rate on each of these AMD CPUs as well. So I just want to quickly switch across to the chat. So yeah, hey George, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, look, we spent quite a bit of time. It looks like the problem actually was OBS itself. That's the software I'm using to bring these broadcasts out to the world. I eventually had to completely uninstall it, delete all the profiles, delete all the configurations, and start again from scratch. The only thing that's still not working is the telemetry. Yeah, I don't know what the actual stink is going on, because I got this thing up and running, and every time it's running, then it stops running. So I'm very confused by it. But I've logged a call. I've reported the issue up the chain. So everything but the telemetry seems to be fine. My upload speed is steady. I'm getting no drop frames. My CPU usage is normal, and it's able to record at the same time. So that's all looking great. Let's quickly go back to Windows, right? So we've got all that installed. So very quickly, what I've also done is I've gone and installed the Corsair, what's it called again? The R-Link stuff, so you can actually have a look at to see. And I've never gone as far as installing it before, the Corsair Link 4. So that's pretty cool. Eventually I'm going to try and get as many Corsair products into this build. So I want to try and get a Corsair, maybe even the 1500R, or just do something temporarily. I want to hook up as many of the Corsair products with the R-Link software, and just have a look at it. I've never really tested the software before. I've always thought it was a bit gimmicky, but you know, I've got to start understanding more and more of these things. So the first thing that I thought was pretty cool, which I didn't know could happen, was the LED on the actual pump itself. That's this one here. You can change the color of that. So if I position this nicely, and I will transition that across. So it's this one here. It comes as stock standard white, and I didn't know, but you can change that. So if you're doing it in a custom design case or the custom build or something like that, and you want it to be red, you can actually change it. And I'm pretty sure that functionality is probably documented somewhere, but I don't read these things, to be honest. I overlook the functionality, and I get quite excited when I see something that I think is pretty cool. So that's just a pretty cool thing that this idiot here discovered. Right, so the video card, nothing special, just a Sapphire Nitro Plus. I had a couple of them left over from a build I did for a customer. I've still got to refine the OC on that quite nicely, and maybe we'll do something about that. So that's the introduction in a nutshell of the AMD project. So let's just do a quick list of the processors that I plan on testing, and I'll stream each and every single one of them. It starts with the A6 series. I got an 8500 there, and a 9500 and 9500E. The A8, I've got a 9600. The A10, 8700, 8700E, 9700, 9700E. And then A12, I've got 8800 and 8800E, and 9800, 9800E. So now a lot of this stuff is actually going to become sort of really 2 generations, 3 generations old, because I've heard rumors that AMD are releasing new chips in the next couple of weeks. Months, sorry, not weeks. But I have no concrete news on that, and it's all just gossip and rumors. I've also then got out of the 7th generation, or 8th generation, I think it is, I don't know, AMD 1700X, 1700, then the Ryzen 5, 1500, 1300, and 1200. So I think I'm going to start off with those, because those show the most promise. And yeah, so please get in touch with me on my social media channels, Facebook or on Discord, and all of those. If you have any questions, or if there's anything in particular you want me to, test, like I said, this is purely for me just to build a database. So it's really running PC Mark, running 3D Mark, the CPU tests, and running Cinebench, and then I'm just going to store that data, and it will be then all done on comparison as well versus price. So the whole thing I'm trying to do for people is to give them, if they've got a budget say of $1,000, I want to build best machine that for their budget, for what they want to use it for. And a lot of the time, being an Intel fanboy, I'd say, yeah, just throw an Intel in there, doesn't have to be K-SKU. But when you start looking at the price of some of these processors, you can't argue anymore about Intel being just the flat best. You've got to start looking at some of these AMD processors, you really do, especially if you're on a bit of a strict budget. So just had a quick question there. You can also change the pump RPM, right? I don't know, I guess. Just click on it. Yeah, so mode is quiet. I'm guessing I can change that mode to performance, and the pump RPM should go from, yeah, there we go, it went from 1950 to 2850, so that's pretty good. I'm guessing if you click on a few of these things, you might be able to change, yes you can, some of these settings. So I remember the first time I installed this Corsair Link, it was for the 1500R, it was to disable the OCP on it. I remember being terribly frustrated because the only way to disable the OCP was through the software, and you had to do it on every boot. So for instance, if you're using like a big overclock or something like that, and you're trying to get a good score, you had to go in there and bloody every time you rebooted and set that OCP. It was the most frustrating thing I dealt with, and I didn't install it again. I think that was Link 1, or the very first version. Yeah, so what else we got here? I wonder if we can... Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. It would be nice now, choose a case image. It would be nice if I could choose a motherboard image. So the case that I've got under here for the streaming is the Air 740. No, 540. Yeah, Air 540. So that's the case that my stream rig is built into. If you remember, if you go back on some of the past streams, you can see it there. Graphing, profile. I'm pretty sure there must be a way to add a motherboard. That'd be really cool. And then you could bang some fans in here. Anyway, I'm just buggering around now. So other thing that did arrive today, which I was quite excited about, was my Noble chair finally came in from the OC World Cup yesterday, last year. I want to really build it on the stream. To be honest, I don't know how I would be able to do that, because it's quite a mammoth thing that. Yeah, so I got it, and I'm very excited about that. It arrived about an hour and a half ago. So the other thing I've got now installed as well for the first time ever is the RGB software that comes with the motherboard, and I've never ever synced it up before. So I've got my hands on a Galax RGB keyboard. I also do have a Corsair RGB keyboard somewhere. Maybe I should rather test with that. And I'm going to try and do the whole RGB sync up everything. The other cool thing I've got is a little ROG ornament that can also be hooked up into your RGB. So I'm really going to go and just test all of this. Once again, it's just build my own knowledge, build my own experience, so that I can give good advice to customers when they ask me, good advice to people when they ask questions. As far as LN2 overclocking is concerned, there will be some coming up in the next month, starting in May. I'm going to focus on a little bit of pre-testing for an event I've got coming up. More details about that very soon. And then hopefully I'll be going to Computex in June. I don't know yet, so we'll see what happens there. So yeah, what I have done with this so far is really just change the different types of effects you can have, and it does sync up obviously the fan and the onboard RGB, because I've connected the fan via the RGB header. So how I can sync up keyboards and all that sort of stuff, I don't know. It's going to be quite a little bit of a fun experience, and I look forward to making an ass of myself on the stream when I try and figure that one out. And that's basically it for the day. We've now gone through just a little bit of what and why I want to do this specifically. I've tested the new streaming configuration. It is working nicely. I don't know if you guys have any issues with the video so far of it being a little bit staggery, but the numbers on my side look fantastic. I've got a really solid upstream, and I've got 0 drop frames. CPU usage is only like 6%, solid 30 frames per second. So that's really starting to look good, and I think we're good to go for the next couple of streams and no more technical issues. Yeah, so with that in mind, I'm going to just sign off. I've got to go and put some cornices up in the room that we've been renovating, and then before you know it, it's going to be bloody 5 o'clock and it's time to go fetch my daughter. Anyway guys, yeah, thanks for checking in on the stream today. Stay tuned for some announcements coming up for events we're doing in May. Hopefully we have the details finalized really shortly. I'm going to open the box for the Noble chair and see if it's going to be possible to put it together on the stream. But it's a big box. I think that's about it for today. Until next time, happy benching. And in screen.